So this is a question for actually for someone. A rather stupid question, but being the first one, so maybe it's a good starting point. I've been correcting many people. Have been using the term Docker the same way people have been using Hoover as a vacuum cleaner. So people have been using Docker as a replacement for saying container image or container. What's your point of view on this thing, especially with a beer in your hand?
So the question is, what's the correct way to use the word Docker?
Which one would you prefer, I guess?
I always say let people use the words any way they want. So you're saying people say, oh, I'm running a Docker, like one container, one Docker, two Docker, three Docker, like to represent the individual container?
Or I have a Docker image.
Oh, a Docker image, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's all, yeah.
Even though they're not using anything that came from, the Docker engine, or it's not running on.
Oh,
anything.
I see. Like Kleenex, like the Kleenex problem.
Like the Kleenex, like the Hoover, like the.
Oh man, I used to stress out about that so much. But now I don't work at Kleenex anymore, so I don't care. I think it's cool, Yeah, I think both are fine. It's a word that's ambiguous. It means both. It means the standard for the format and also an implementation of the standard, and
Ambiguity is kind of a stressful thing, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, mental health.
You're obviously at a tech conference in Israel right now, but there's also lots of Israelis in tech, like around the world, lots of other places. I wonder, do either of you have like a story with like first impressions of Israelis in tech abroad or anything like that? Anecdotes, I guess. Thoughts?
Well, we're probably both trying to think of a specific anecdote.
I mean, I've definitely had an opportunity to work with a few Israeli engineers. I will say that I can peep y'all early in terms of the confidence and definitely the level of experience. I think that it's not, you all may not be aware how far ahead you are in the industry, and I really want to encourage you all to stand on it because it's definitely noticeable. And at the end of the day, this is why coming out to here, I can really see what has been developed, the community, and the slightly different type of pep in your step, kind of. So it's noticeable, it's definitely respected, and I want to encourage y'all to stand on it even more.
I'll just add that even though I don't sound like it, I am French. And
we forgive you.
In a lot of ways, the French and the Israeli are very similar. Especially in California. In California, people are not direct. Everything is always awesome. And the French people and Israeli people, I think, like it to be very direct. So we like each other. We are like, we support each other in being direct. Yes. Yeah. And also, I totally agree with what you said. Yeah.
Hey, so I feel like this. Can I go?
Okay. No, you can't.
Okay.
Of course you can. It's the whole idea of the whole session.
Okay, so I feel like this question must have been asked dozens of times already, but with the state of AI, people are talking about replacing tech jobs, and I wonder, do you think the DevOps and SRE field is more or less resistant than the average developer to this transition?
I think more. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is the thing that I think, now that I've been playing with AI for the past year, two plus, is it really depends on who's whispering to AI. You can just ask it to do something, but when I ask it to do something, it's something different, right? So the skill set that we develop as DevOps engineers or SREs is going to be, I like to describe it as the new moat in terms of speaking and whispering to AI. So the skill set is going to be extremely valuable because if y'all have seen what's been created by vibe coding, I don't know if it's ready for anything, not production. But if you have the skill set that we've been developing over the years, you'll be able to give it correct instructions on how it could assume a role similar to what an SRE is. But there definitely needs to be someone that has that specific skill set in the background whispering into it. So I don't see us going away. I will say that the next round of engineers, there might not be as many that understand the value around it. I'll make a quick comparison. It's like a cloud engineer versus somebody that's dealing with bare metal, right? As soon as you abstract it away, you kind of see the void in terms of skill sets around it. So I encourage us to stand on our skills that we develop and definitely use that as the input to make AI actually do more than just the normal engineer. So big shout out to y'all. Y'all made it before the cutoff line.
Next question. Anyone? Boom. So while we're waiting for the next question, Bobby, I want to add something. I was at a customer last week, and I saw this great poster or whatnot that really had the same message. It said, your jobs are not at risk of being replaced by AI. Your jobs are at risk by being replaced by a person who knows AI, who knows how to use AI. So, question. No one?
I'll take some stuff from social media.
All right.
So, one saying that has been attributed to you is no is temporary, yes is forever, about open source decisions. So what's the toughest no that you had to say at Docker? Or for you, Bobby, at Twitter? Yeah. So yeah, what's the toughest no?
I think that the toughest thing was really, I can't think right now of one thing. It's really just the volume of things. It's saying no all the time to most of things. That was a lot of my job as BDFL of Docker, was just saying no to a bunch of things. And it's very lonely because like people don't like when you say no. And they like the result though. They like that it's simple and consistent and the design makes sense. But they don't like when you take their favorite feature idea away, where you say, sorry, we're not going to do that PR exactly like that. It's the main reason I have so much gray hair. And yeah, it kind of, it grinds you down. But I want to encourage everyone to, if you want to design something great, you have to say no a lot. And it feels, if it doesn't feel uncomfortable, then you're not doing it right. So someone's got to do it. And it's worth it. So that's my message to all the designers out there. Yeah.
Double tapping on that, I would say for me, I start off with a no. It's a no. It's a no. But what it did was it changed the way that mentees, peers actually approached to present an idea, right? Because they know I was going to say no at the beginning. So much so that the yes became even more of something I stood on because I knew that they took the extra steps because they knew I was going to say no. A no that I miss is the idea of how we actually deploy in terms of using something that we had internally called Mesos containers. And I said no to Docker. And then now we see where Docker is now. So big shout outs to no's, stand on it, but it also forces you to rethink what you're proposing. And don't look at yeses as a way to open up doors, but more or less to indirectly challenge people to look beyond where they are right now. So always start off with a no.
It's a bit on the subject you just touched, Salmon. What's actually the control you have over an open source project such as Docker the moment you give it away to the community? Like, how much of it stays in your hands?
Oh, I think it's entirely up to like whoever created it decides how to run it. Even though a lot of people will be complaining. Like my biggest, one of my biggest frustrations with Docker is that well, when it's related to saying no all the time. So as I said no all the time to a lot of people, a lot of the people I was saying no to were vendors. You know, they were in the emerging Docker ecosystem and later Kubernetes container ecosystem, and everyone was trying to build products and make money and succeed. And you know, it's a period of intense change and turmoil, kind of like AI now, and everyone's trying to figure out how they're going to succeed. And so there's a lot at stake, and there was a lot of the two worlds collided: the world of open source and the world of business. And the collision, I think that the overlap of those two worlds is very constructive. It's very powerful, but also you know, there's a lot of, it creates friction. All this to say, it happened frequently that I said no to something, and then someone would say, "Oh, they're saying no because as a business they want to make money." You know, so in other words, implied, they said no to this awesome feature by the community because they are an evil VC-funded startup and they want to make money. So it's the community versus the business. And I found that 100% of the time when someone says that, they're a vendor trying to make money and they're unhappy that we turn down their money-making thing. So all this to say that I think it's important to recognize that saying no because you're trying to protect the integrity of the design is not the same thing as locking down a product because you want to make money. And so I was frustrated by that confusion. I don't know if that answered your question. Actually, I forgot your question, if I'm completely honest. Sorry, I kind of got lost in my thing there. But yeah, that was just a big topic for me, and I felt like it was very misunderstood. If someone open source, you gave something to the world, you want to run it the way you want to run it. You shouldn't be afraid to run it the way you want to run it. And I think people were afraid, at least in the period that I'm talking about, which is 10 years ago. Maybe it's changed now. People were very afraid to be criticized for not doing open source the right way. And I think it's a mistake because, you know, people are going to try and police you and tell you, oh, you're not doing it the right way. This is my software. I opened it like, you're welcome, first of all. And then, you know, I feel like now maybe that's more accepted. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had an affinity for open source because it gave me an ability to dive deeper into the code base to really understand what y'all was doing, right? But also, it gave me an opportunity to influence. But sometimes the influence felt limited based on what the direction of the company is, because I didn't know. I'm just trying to, you know, add this new feature or add this thing that's missing. And it definitely made me feel like, man, I guess they're not really open for us, right? But what I did quickly realize is that it could be something that I'm, you know, being extremely biased about, hey, I want this, rather than looking at the bigger picture. So as a software engineer, I always feel like, hey, if an idea patch or PR or RFC doesn't get approved, it's like, hey, it definitely could be other things added to it. So I never took an offense to it, but I always felt like open source has been the avenue for engineers on the outside to really see what's going on. So it's a catch-22 almost.
That's the beauty of open source is you can always fork it. You know, you should embrace the fork. It's okay. You know, and I have zero problem with someone saying, "Oh, like, I don't like the way you're doing it. I'm going to do it differently, and I'm going to take the code so far and go another way. Go for it. You know, that's the best thing that can happen. Is, and you know, maybe I'll steal your idea later. You know, that's. I mean, that's how it works. That's why open source is so powerful, and why open source engineering is generally better. You know, the code is better. It's just this brutal, like natural selection of code and the process to produce the code. So yeah, I think it's.
No, I said that Linux was the first open source ever operation system, and look where we are because of that. And Docker on top of that.
And Linus has always been very, very good at saying no.
Okay, so both of you had a really big effect on our technical culture. Is there something you did early on that you would have done differently now, technical-wise? Yeah, not.
Is there something that I would have done different?
Yeah.
Technical choices. Find a way to buy Sun Solaris from Oracle when they first was pitching. That might have been a little bit of a dream, but tell you the truth, I actually stand on the journey that I've been. I don't look back in terms of like regret. I look at it as a part of the journey. I look at it as an opportunity to learn and develop, and definitely allow me to make better choices in the future. So going back and changing so that it's a nice clear day. We need to have rainy days like today types situations for us to build resilience and also build the everlasting endurance, right? Imagine, and this is why I always stand on no, imagine if you got a yes every time, right? You would move different, right? Versus having a no or having challenges in life or assuming that one thing should have been this way and then 10 years later you're like, dang, thank God that somebody else kept that going, right? So not much change other than finding a way to acquire Sun Microsystems.
I don't know. I can. Sorry. Yeah, we don't have to both answer every time.
Yes, you do.
I was just gonna say, okay. Yeah, it's more like we have a list of. I mean, it's easy to make a list of technical mistakes that you learn from, but I don't know that that you kind of have to go through it. It's part of the journey, right? And I forgot what I was going to say again. I think it's the jet lag acting on me, but I had something. It was right there, and it disappeared. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me while I answer the next question. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. It's more of like it's less of a question about your past, like from your experience and the way that you're kind of thinking. Could you maybe name drop interesting projects that you look at today, and what you find interesting about them, in terms of for whatever topic that you're kind of into? Like in your pastime or in your, yeah.
I mean, one thing I love about having the track record of being the Docker guy, people come to talk to me and they tell me about their project, and I love that. So, I mean, there's a lot. I have a long list that I'm not remembering, and that's kind of a theme. But the one I remember right now is Light Panda. Everyone know that Light Panda? It's it's one very hot area. One topic right now is headless browsers, front end tests. Of course, because of AI, and it's kind of a mess. That stack is a mess, and like the baseline seems to be use something like some front front-end testing framework that predates LLMs, and then boot up a 5 gigabyte Chromium image. And then once you're done waiting for it to be ready, you drive that browser. So like Panda, I really admire what they're doing. They're basically re-implementing a browser from scratch, specifically for the headless use case, and it's not Chromium. So they were sacrificing, they sacrificed short-term compatibility, so they crossed the desert. But the payoff is, I think their RAM consumption is like 20x smaller, and you can get an instance in a few milliseconds. I mean, yeah, that's the payoff. And I think they've been at it for 4 years, and I don't think they're at 100% in all the benchmarks, but they're pretty damn close now. And so I think it's just really cool how they approached it, And also they got lucky because they started before agents were a thing, and they're almost done when now everyone needs this. So I'm excited to try it out and integrate it in Dagger, and so yeah. Did I buy you enough time to think of one?
I'm a low-key fanboy for a new orchestration platform that I was actually talking about it last night. If y'all don't know about Nomad and what HashiCorp is building, when you look at orchestration platforms out there, I definitely give them a big up. Yeah, 100%. I knew this was going to happen. But it's truly like when you look at what a platform like Kubernetes has introduced into our environment is too much complexity. When I look at a YAML file, I just turn away. And yeah. And yeah, when he told that story, I was right there behind her like, damn it, Solomon, I knew it was you. But I think projects that create a way that has a simple single binary and execute, and you can literally run the world. I think it's a project that a lot of people are misunderstanding its place. And I want to encourage you all to always look beyond and just what's the hottest thing, what's the new thing on the streets, and just really understand what the technology is doing. Also recognize the complexity, and then keep searching. Because I've been working on a paper around building virtual data centers. Kubernetes was one of the first platforms to consider, and I threw it out the door in week number 1 type. And then I started to look beyond, and that's where I ran upon or stumbled upon where Nomad or HashiCorp has developed. Big shout out to that team and whoever works at that company. I don't know, we got maybe have a no, but truly it is something that I encourage engineers to really start to dig deeper, not just follow whatever the wave is. Big shout outs to what Kubernetes is doing. No shade at that, but just understand that complexity creates toil, simplicity allows us to grow endlessly. So big shout out.
So, we've all done things that we are not proud of. But somehow, we're still proud of them. What hack have you done in production that is somehow full of depravity, horror, haunts you at night, but you're somehow weirdly proud of?
Ever heard of Docker files? That was not supposed to be the final design. Good question. Yeah, no, that was like so the initial release of Docker did not have Docker build. It didn't have Docker files, but you had Docker commit, Docker run, Docker commit. And one of the cool use cases was, look, you can run, commit, run, commit, run, commit, but you have to do it explicitly. And then as a proof of concept, I wrote this really hacky Python script on the side called docker-build.py that did like roughly what Docker build does, but like as a hack for a meetup. Like I prepared that demo kind of like I prepared my keynote. And so, yeah, it was like, and there was no, I wanted it to be like shell syntax, but there was no ready-to-use shell compatible parser library in Go because Go was pretty new, and I didn't have the time or the skill to write one with those constraints. So we have this. That's why we have this really basic parser. And people were like, yeah, I want to use that. And then we're like, okay, next release the following week, we merged it in as is. And then later we were like, oh, can we refactor this? Because we wanted to make it a little cleaner. And people were like, no, don't touch it. It's too late. Okay, and now there you go. So.
One tool that comes to mind as soon as I heard this. So at Twitter, we built a lot of bird tools. Everything had a bird name, Autobird, Rocketbird. And I hacked together something called Medic Bird. Its role was basically to not only detect, but actually remediate any type of failures. And the key word here is any. So I decided to do a demo to the VP of this code called Medic Bird. Unbeknownst to them, it was just basically a bash shell script with a lot of if-else statements in it. Right? And then all of a sudden, budget came around and said, hey, we need to actually put this in production. So guess what I did? I deployed it in production. It's a shell script that's probably still running today, for sure. And it's full of if-else statements in there, and I hope somebody else is maintaining it because I used to lose sleepless nights thinking about this Medic Bird not actually taking care of his job, but hey, Elon hasn't called me yet, so it's still running.
Are you haunted in your sleep by, that's a great idea. Let me help.
I'm haunted in the sleep where it's like, I hope nobody killed that cron job.
Next question. Who's got a question? Raise your hand. All right, social media.
So a lot of us change jobs over the years. We change roles. We don't necessarily succeed in all of them. Which change that you've made as a result of a failure are you most proud of?
What kind of change? What kind of failure? Sorry. Like when you say a job change as a result of a failure, it sounds like getting fired because you messed up.
Either you got fired, or it just didn't work out, or you were there and you were unhappy. You don't necessarily need to get fired to become resigned. Al Bundy taught us that.
So one of my first jobs, not in tech, was a security officer. Managing building security. And my failure, which is rule number one for overnight security, is don't fall asleep. So falling asleep at that role, at that job, got me fired, but also sparked an interest in me because, dang, I can't do this job no more. It's time for me to really focus in on tech. So I bless the universe all the time for firing me for falling asleep in that role because it definitely pushed me to focus more on the engineering side of the house, develop the skills I needed to, and then 10 years later, I had a chance to get drafted by Twitter. So thank you for that opportunity.
I can't think of a time where I left. I didn't have that many jobs in my life, to be honest. I was pretty early in my career when I quit actually, the job that I quit to start .cloud was my first real job. So, yeah. But there's a lot of jobs that I tried to have that I failed to get. I didn't get hired. For a while, I really wanted to work at Google. I just could not get into Google early. I actually the same trove of documents that I found that made my presentation. I found my in 2006 I applied to Google for an internship, and it was really bad application. It was really bad. But yeah, I guess I'm glad no one hired me, so I got to work on the stuff I love. So
Very cool. Anyone else, or we'll take another one from social media?
So it's a question that I always try to ask people of the caliber of you two. You developed a lot of tools in your life, especially like you, Salman. What is the weirdest use case that you found for the tool that you developed to the point that you almost regretted developing it?
Dun, 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 dun.
No, it depends. Is it okay to talk about one that's that where there's no regret involved? I guess. Because all those that come to mind are just very surprising, but also very cool. You know, there's a lot of those, but I mean, there's some for on the Docker in the Docker. I have a Docker one and the Dagger one. The Docker one is, and actually there's a lot, but when someone said, "Well, we're going to run Docker in a satellite, like in space," I thought that was pretty awesome. Like, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, oh, we're going to run. Oh, yeah. We're going to do this very critical thing. Like, wait, no, wait. At least wait for the next version, please. But no, there was a really cool demo actually that someone showed at DockerCon where they built a Minecraft server. That do you remember? Anyone remember Dockercraft? Dockercraft was really cool. It was a Minecraft server that showed you all your Docker containers. Like it connected to the Docker engine, and you could walk around and you saw your containers. And I think there was a on-off switch. Like you go, and it would stop the container. And I think during the demo, at least the version of the demo I got, they accidentally turned off the container for their own demo. They're like, and look, you can, and then it all froze. But it was just really cool. Yeah, anyway, that's mine.
I don't have regret for this tool being developed. Almost regret.
Yeah, almost regret. You don't have to regret it completely.
I actually felt more inspired by the tool than feeling regret. It was a tool called a cluster operator. And it managed the full life cycle of machines coming into the environment. And the reason why I have some is that it was so efficient that we used to have a challenge of getting nodes into production. So bare metal machines and getting ready for production would take weeks, right? And soon after we fully developed the tool, we went from weeks to hours to literally minutes. And when I look back, I was like, pour more into my cup because I want to do more of this. But then the side effect of that was deploying of data centers even more, right? So it's like two sides of the coin where I felt like I was solving a problem, especially with my mantra, automating yourself out of a job, and then literally not having a job after I automate it because it just takes care of it, right? But it opened up other opportunities. That's why there's no regret, right? When I first deployed it and it was running as efficient as it was, I didn't think that I had, a few more days left because there was no need. But it actually opened up opportunities and really, solidified the mantra that I have. So developing that tool was one of my greatest accomplishments. But at some point in my time, when I used to go home, I used to tell my wife, I don't know if I'm going to be there next week, right? But it definitely worked out very well for me.
I have one more on the Dagger side. So there's a guy on the Dagger team who's an amazing engineer. His name is Alex. Anyone know Concourse CI? Concourse? Really? I am very surprised. Anyway, this is it was a revolutionary CI platform that Cloud Foundry built. Like at some point, it became strategically important to Cloud Foundry. Not Cloud Foundry, the company behind Pivotal. Pivotal made a big bet on it. Anyway, it's just this one guy, Alex, on his own, who invented this really cool CI platform. Anyway, You had to be there. No, it was declarative. It was artifact centric, not script centric. I mean, now he works at Dagger because he brings back. He's bringing back the best ideas from Concourse. Anyway, so using Dagger, we added LLM primitives to Dagger, so that Dagger can orchestrate deterministic workflows for end-to-end tests, etc. And you're just composing functions with clear inputs and outputs. It's like playing Lego. And so at some point last year, we added a new kind of function that could have an LLM inside of it. So you can encapsulate an LLM inside a deterministic function inside a deterministic workflow, which is cool in the context of CI and end-to-end tests, platforms, because you don't want to just vibe the whole thing. You need determinism, but sometimes having an LLM in the constrained sandbox context is useful. So we added these primitives and all sorts of cool experiments built on that. But Alex decided that he didn't want to use Claude Code. Like, he used Claude Code and the Codex CLI, and then he was like, I don't like how this works and that works, and it's not open source. I mean, Codex is, but Claude Code is not. So he basically built his own Claude Code alternative on top of Dagger to this day. So I watch him work, and it's just the most amazing thing. He's using Dagger to run this interactive robot running inside Dagger, and then he prompts the robot to develop this new feature of Dagger, and then it starts basically modifying itself. It blows my mind every time. Yeah, so that's cool. I did not expect that use case at all. It's not the intended use case, but yeah, he pulls it off.
Hi there. I was wondering, what is the worst dad joke in tech that you know? Dad joke in tech that you know?
Dad the joke.
Oh, worst dad joke. Wow.
The absolute worst.
Maybe we can start an async thread on that one and we think about it. We only know good dad jokes, sorry. I don't know. Yeah.
1 + 1 is 3. Hey, that's a great idea.
Let's do one more from social media. And if you had an ultimate AI-powered virtual conference, who's your dream lineup of speakers, dead or alive, tech or not, and what session would you crash?
Dead or alive, I would have loved to seen Steve Jobs in our era where we are right now. And that would definitely be a session I would pull up to and crash. Another session is a great technologist. Her name is Angie Jones, if you haven't seen her online. Amazing technologist. And then, roger that. Amazing technologist. And then the last one would be me. I'm taking the stage.
I actually saw an actual talk by Angie Jones. She's awesome. Yeah, but you can see her for real. She's alive. She's amazing. I don't know, I was going to say Steve Jobs also, but Steve Wozniak. Yeah. What's his name? The McCarthy, the inventor of Lisp. Like the old school. Yes, thank you. I think I would have enjoyed a talk by him. Yeah.
Okay, you guys give a lot of talks, you talk to a lot of people. Is there any bit of advice that you find yourself giving out all the time where you're like, why aren't people doing this more? Like, How many times do we have to say this?
So, well, one type of scene that I find myself in all the time is conferences where you find the need to motivate, in the sense of being yourself in any scene is sometimes really challenging, especially for underrepresented individuals. So, one of the things I always encourage is come as your authentic self. Don't put a front, because that's blocking you from being innovative and being able to see your abilities beyond what others may assume in terms of their biases. And it is something that I do encourage all the time. And sometimes it just blows my mind how we don't realize, being in the industry, how far ahead we are from everyone else not in the industry. So I always want to encourage you to be your authentic self. And once you embrace that, the window and skies for development and growth is always going to be there. So if I can encourage you, is always to be yourself.
A lot of my advice boils down to ship it, keep building. Don't wait. No, don't wait until you know for sure it's the right idea. Just build it now. Just a lot of that. Less so in the U.S., but in France a lot. In Silicon Valley, it's different because everyone's super confident. I'm just generalizing a lot, but I think there's this feeling that you have to wait until you figure out the idea that is going to be your life's work, and you have to analyze it from all angles. And once you're sure, then you can take the jump and start building it, and get started, because you only get one shot. So it's a sort of a waterfall approach, when in reality you just have to start building now. And this is building anything. You can build like a side project, a throwaway project, like the people go through these challenges, like build code every day for 100 days or whatever. You just got to keep building, and then through the tactical muscle of building, then you get better at it, and then you find opportunities, and you figure out. It gives you the momentum to then figure out what's worth your time. So that's my main advice. And the other one is just talk to users. Okay, some people are good at building, but they build in a complete vacuum for years, and they have no idea if it solves anyone's problem. And you got to talk to people for that. So the other one is like, when are you launching, or when are you giving the first demo? Well, I want it to be perfect. Whatever the answer is, the correct answer is probably tomorrow. Yeah, like the just to connect to my Docker thing, but remember when I was showing these updates, like, oh yeah, we have 5 potential customers, now we have 10 potential customers. Like those demos, the thing did not even run. I actually had, if you go to the Docker repository, it's called Moby now. Oh, that's a lot of stories there, but it's if you go to that repository, you go all the way to the beginning of the Git history, and you build it. You will see that it builds, you can run it. It doesn't actually do anything. And there's a file called fake.go. And it was me and this other guy, Andrea. And he was doing the backend, which was basically an LXC wrapper that did the thing, but it wasn't working yet. And I built the front end, and literally it pretended to do stuff. And we typed Docker pull or Docker download, whatever the command was back then. I actually had a simulator, so I generated random realistic wait time, so the download would look realistic and everything. And I showed that, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome! Let's go!" So when I say ship it, you can show it sooner than you think. That's what I mean. You just like show it, and then because the sooner you show it, the sooner you'll get feedback, and then you can build, you can course correct, and then you show, you course correct. So that's my advice. It's honestly 99% of what the feedback people need is one of those two things.
So that's all we have time for today. Thank you all very much. Thank you, our esteemed guests, for showing up and sharing your wisdom with us. We're big fans. Hope to see you again. And thank you all for having a great conference.